Dear students, welcome back to the video lecture series on embedded systems. This is lecture number 15 and we are into module number 2. So, in today's lecture, I will be covering the one more part of the instruction. I will be calling it as instruction descriptions part number 4. So, few instructions are repeated and elaborated. Okay, so they come under certain categories. So, let us see that. So, first one is about the special instructions. Okay, so in ARM Cortex M3, we have three special instructions which are related to the memory and memory access. Okay, so they are usually referred as instruction barrier and memory barrier instructions. Okay, barrier here it refers to the certain restriction. Okay, so the Cortex M3 supports a number of barrier instructions. Okay, so as I told, they are required for having or applying certain restrictions in accessing the memory. So how it is or how these things are used, let us see. So the three instructions are DMB, DSB and ISB. Okay, the memory barrier instruction, they can be also accessed through the C code also, but you have to use the functions void underscore DMB void. Okay, so this is for the DMB. So like that you can use the other two also. Okay, so in general, if you uh, refer these as special instructions, so these can also be monitored or controlled through the control register. Okay, so only for ISB instruction it should be used after updating the value of control register. Okay, so in the control register mainly we can have the control over stack pointer and also switching from the privilege level or the user privilege level. Okay, so barrier instructions and their importance or descriptions. DMB, it stands for data memory barrier. Okay, so it makes sure that all memory access are completed before new memory access is committed. So this point is something like, say, assume that if I am taking the class from 11 to 12, 11 to 12, so I should make sure that I need to complete that particular topic of that day between 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Okay, so that after 12 p.m. if somebody enters, I should be in a I should be able to give them space, correct? So similarly here, what it does is it will make sure that all memory access are completed before new memory access is requested. Committed means requested. So say for example, if you take two tasks, addition and subtraction. If addition takes certain area of the memory, similarly, if subtraction requires same area of the memory, so before the subtraction instruction is being executed or fetched, so the DMB instruction should make sure that it should complete the execution of the addition instruction. This is only for the simplicity, I am telling addition example. Okay, so DSB in the same way, data synchronization barrier. So synchronization means what? So there should be equal amount of discussion or equal amount of transmission and reception. Okay, so what it makes sure that all memory access are completed before next instruction is executed. So it is first previous one DMB is like fetching or accessing the memory. This one is any execution process should be completed before next instruction requires the execution cycle. Okay. Again, if you take a plus b and a means addition and subtraction, something like r1 plus r2, r1 minus r2. Okay. So r1 plus r2, if it is executed, next what is required? R1 minus R2 is to be executed. Before it executes, R1 value and R2 value should be read and they should be added and that value should be available. And next it should read again R1 and R2 before it executes the previous instruction. Okay. Instruction synchronization barrier. So it means what? It will flushes the pipeline and ensure that all previous instructions are completed before executing the new instruction. So instructions will be there, but right now at present which instruction is going to be executed should be cleared before the next instruction gets into the memory. Okay, so that is related to the program counter. Okay, so now the term memory barrier, it is like a general term applied to the instruction or sequence of instructions that will force synchronization or proper communication between the events by a processor with respect to returning the load and store values. Okay, so along with that, the memory barrier, it also guarantees that completion of preceding load and store access by the programmer's model. Okay, and as I told earlier, flushing of any perfected instruction means executed instruction before the memory barrier event. Okay, first one is again the same thing. Preceding load means previously loaded value. Okay, so it should be completed before the new value is arrived. Okay, so uh, intrinsic means they are the inherent properties. Okay, so memory barrier, if you consider the various ways to access the memory barrier, for assembly language we can use DMB, DSB, ISB, and for CMSIS, which we shall see in the upcoming lectures, you need to use it as a function, and for the C program also in the same way. Say for more information, just for your reference, you can visit this link also I have provided. So it is a very good link, and the description is beautifully given there. Okay, it is only for understanding. Okay, so as I told earlier, the DMB, DSB, and ISB, they are meant for uh, applying certain restrictions over access to the memory. Okay, so how these things are actually utilized? So one by one we need to consider them. Okay, so if you consider the first one, that is again a data memory barrier, that is DMB. Okay, so the data memory barrier DMB. Okay, so DMB, that is DMB acts as a data memory barrier so that it ensures that all the explicit memory access that appear before the DMB instruction in a program order, okay, are completed before any explicit memory access, okay, that appear after the DMB instructions. Okay, so before DMB instructions, whichever instructions or codes are written, they are allowed to access the memory. Okay, before the next instruction after DMB get into execution process. Okay, and data synchronization barrier, again the same thing. It will also ensure that all explicit data transfer before the DSB are complete. So data, so what do you mean by this explicit data transfer means? So suppose if you are transferring the data from external internal memory to the stack pointer for temporary operation. So before transferring that, the stack pointer should be free to access, correct? So that thing will be taken care by the DSB instruction. Okay. So ISB already we have seen that in the previous slides. Okay, this one is very important here. So assembly language, one more kind of operation is saturation operation. Okay, the next one is a saturation operation. Okay, so in Cortex M3, it supports a very good, what you can say, support for understanding the programmer to that how much data they can give. Okay, that is what is the range. Something like if you have 8-bit uh, controller or processor, so what are the accessible addresses? Okay, so for 8-bit, say for example if I take 8-bit, so 2 to the power 8 will give me the number of address lines. Okay, and 8 bits means 8 times 0 to 8 times 1. Okay, so if you take this in hexadecimal, this will be 002 FF. Okay, so if you consider in this way, this is the range within which it can operate. Okay, that is for the unsigned value. So similarly, if you consider for the signed value, it will be a different case. So we shall see that in the coming slide anyway. So saturation instructions, how they are executed. For signed we use the prefix s, for unsigned we use the prefix u. Okay, so SSAT is for signed saturation, USAT is for unsigned saturation. Okay, so we have RD, that is the register onto which you want to apply the saturation with how much length, so that can be mentioned here with respect to which register the value will be specified here, and this RN register will be shifted either left or right. Okay, so the things are given here. Rn is the input value. Shift means it can be either logical shift, but logical means only left shift, and arithmetic shift is right shift. Okay, so like that, RD is the destination value. So destination register. So whatever these values are being used, so all those values will be stored in the destination register. Okay. So here the syntax is given SSAT and USAT. Okay. So they are actually used to saturate any bit position here. So here we can consider it as, now for Cortex M3 we have, it is a 32-bit processor. So bit number 31, 30, like that, up to bit number 0 is there. So where you want to put the limit for your usage. So if you don't want to use all the 32 bits, so if you want to use only first 29 bits, so you can mask these bits. Okay, so that can be either signed or unsigned saturation. So as we have given already the instruction format, so you need to understand here that particularly for arithmetic shift right, this one. So if you use the range 1 to 32, that will be in the ARM mode, that is the 32-bit instruction mode, and for 1 to 31 it will be in the thumb mode, that is the 16-bit thumb mode. Okay, so operation is mentioned here, SSAT, so signed range, SSAT. So what is the saturation? Say 32 bit. Now if I want to make it 29 bits, so here I should mention the value as 30. So the user can give the value from minus 2 to the power 29, okay, to 2 to the power 29 minus 1, okay, 2 to the power 29, that value minus 1, okay. And similarly for usat, it is a positive value, so 0 to here onwards it is for usat, and minus 2 plus it is for ssat, okay. So along with this, so if you consider a simple example over here, so what will happen after executing this, okay, uh, this particular instruction, if you consider, that is move, what is mentioned here, sorry, not move, for 32 bit uh, example, if I may, for if a 32 bit signed value is to be saturated into 16 bit signed value, okay. So actual capacity is 32 bit, but what we are doing, we are limiting it to only 16 bit, okay. That is nothing but scaling this, okay. So the following instruction can be used. SSAT, so we assume that the value is value to be uh, applied is available in register R0, and that value should be reflect in R1. So R0 should be saturated to how many bits? 16 bits. R0 is having currently a 32 bit value, okay. So which should be limited to how many bits? 16 bits. So R0 will have 32 bit default value that will be scaled to 16 bit, and that value is stored in R1, okay. So the scaled value is available of R0 is available in R1. Similarly, if a 32 bit unsigned value is to be saturated, you need to use what? USAT instead of SSAT. This is the simple example, okay. So as I mentioned the previous case, the previous values. So before going to that, here if you consider, suppose if the input range is 3 zeros 2, then 2 followed by 4 number of 0. But if you are getting the output as 7 triple F, okay. So what is happening? Is it utilizing entire value of this? No, it is using only first 4 bits, okay. So it is like under saturation. How this is understood? This is understood with the help of actually the Q register. So if you remember, while discussing APSR, I told that Q and one more flag will be discussed later, correct? So Q bit is used with respect to the saturation conditions, okay. So this Q flag will be set if the saturation takes place in the operation, and it can be clear, but it can be further cleared by writing to the APSR flag. So this you have to keep in mind, okay. So when it will set, whenever the saturation takes place, so it can be over saturation or under saturation also, okay. Actual limit is this, so what we are getting is 7 triple F. So that means R1 can hold only how many bytes? 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 16 byte of data, but here it has 20 bytes of data. So 1 0 means uh, it will be like 4 bits. 4 plus 4, that will be 1 byte, okay, sorry, okay. So in that way, if you consider the things, it can hold a 2 byte of data, that is 16 bits, but actually how much it is given? 16 plus 4, 20 bits. 20 bit is given, but R1 can hold only 16 bits. So hence the Q flag is set. So what happens here? 16 bit data is given, but it is not accepting all the 16 bits. What I can say, just short of one digit or one bit. Okay. So here also Q flag will set. Okay. So when it will remain unchanged, whatever value is given when same value reflects, so that will indicate the unchanged condition. Okay. So here you can observe the various condition for set and unchanged. So as I told this one, so along with this, if I consider a few examples over here, suppose if I write SSAT, okay, R7 comma hash 16 comma R7 comma LSL hash 4. So how it will operate? So R7 value will be first step is R7 will be logically shifted left by 4 positions. Okay, that is first thing. Then it will be saturated as, so what is the saturation value here? 16 bits. It will be saturated to 16 bits. That is the second step, and that value will be written back into the R7. So R7 is 16 bit, and it is also left shifted by 4 positions. Okay, so this is how it is done actually. So next, if we consider a few useful instructions in the Cortex M3, so already we have discussed MSR and MRS, correct? SDIV, UDIV. So symbols and their name. So here I would just like to give you the brief overview again. So if you consider MSR and MRS, we know already. MSR is for storing, that is MSR instruction is meant for write operation. What you can write actually? So you can write the content of special register, correct? Sorry, register to the special register. Okay, so normal register to the special register. Similarly, you can read by using the MRS instructions. Okay, say for example, if you have if you have this value over here, okay, that is R0 as this value, a new value for PSP will be what now? If I write MSR, means you are writing into the process stack pointer. What is the value? The content of R0. Okay, PSP will be having this value now. Okay, so now if you consider the next category, that is SDIV and UDIV. Okay, so here I have given it clearly what is happening. So even though I will just write it over here. So SDIV and UDIV, if you consider the overall result, the overall result will be what? RD will be stored with Rn divided by Rm. Okay, so for example, if R0 is equal to 300 decimal value, if you consider, and if R1 is 5, okay, so if I perform udiv R2 comma R0 comma R1, so R2 will be having what? The result, what is Rn divided by Rm. Rn is R0 divided by R1. 300 divided by 5. Okay. So usually if you consider a decimal, it will be 60. So this value will be stored in R2. Okay. These are the special names what we use. So we have already gone through this. Just for your reference, I have just used it here. So next, few more special instructions. If you consider, we have REV, REVSH, like that. All instructions are there. Let us look into them one by one. So REV reverse the byte order in a data word, and RVH, so that will reverse what here, a byte order inside a half word. Word means 32 bit. This is 16 bit. Say for example, if you take R0 is having 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Okay. REV R1 comma R0, and also REVH R2 comma R0. What it will give? So R1 will become, after executing 7856 and 3412. So if you check it more clearly, so what is the content of R0? It is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. But after passing it through REV, okay, with, and that value is stored in R1. So what will be the R1 value? So it will reverse the byte order in a data word, correct? So it will reverse means 7 8 is there, 7 8 and 1 2 will be, positions will be changed, and also the other value, that is next byte here, 5 6 and 3 4, they are interchanged, correct? Similarly, if you take the R2, so now here with respect to R0, if you consider, what we have is R0 is again 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So half word will be interchanged. Okay. So if you consider the result will be how much? 3 4 1 2 7 8 5 6. Okay. So this will be interchanged among themselves here to here, and this part will be interchanged. Okay. So this will become 3 4 1 2, then 7 8 5 6. Half word, half word, correct? 16 and 16, they are interchanged. Okay. Similarly, if you take sign extension, byte, half word, signed and unsigned, if you consider, already we have gone through the uh, syntax. Let us see the example. If you take R0 as 55AA 8765, okay, sign extension by byte. So here what will happen? Again, if I consider the value of R0, R0 is 55 double A 8765. So if you consider SXTB, okay, so only the byte will be retained. So that is given here. So SXTH means, so this will be retained, but this will be replaced by FFFF. So here, okay, first 16 bit. Similarly, for unsigned, again 65 is retained. Okay, so for what to say, half word. Again 8765 is written, but this will be replaced by 0, unsigned value. Okay. So another set of instruction is reverse bit instruction. Okay. So reverse bit instruction, so it is very simple. Say for example, if you consider the R0 value, what is given binary value, if you consider 1011, then 0100, then 1110, then 0001, then again we have 0000, then 1100 and 0010 and 0011. So after say executing this reverse bit, okay, so this is the value of what you have in R0. So the uh, so it is pretty simple. So reverse of this will be red. Okay, so it means it will take the values in the reverse way, starting from here to here. So if you observe this, first it will start with 1100, as you can see here, 1100, where the actual value starts from 11, means end with 0011. This will get reversed, so it will be continued. Similarly, we have bit field clear, UBFX, and one more thing. So bit field clear and bit field insert, if you consider, so bit field clear, it will clear 1 to 31st adjacent bits in any position of the register. So the syntax is given, and if you consider the examples are the main thing here. See, what is the value of R0 here? 1 2 3 4 FF FF. Okay, so what I am using is bitfield clear dot w R0. So how many positions? 4, and one more value, width is 8. Okay, so here in this case, if you consider the value what we have in R0, R0 is presently having 1 2 3 4 FF FF. So one digit, if you take, it will be 4 bits, 1 2 3 4, 0 1 2, third bit. Okay, so this will be having 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and so on. This will be having 31, 30, 29, and 28 bit. Okay, so here what it indicates is it should start the clearing of the bits, start of clear, up to how many bits? How many bits? 8 bits. So it should start from 4th bit and it should end at the 8th. Okay, so sorry, 8, uh, width is 8. So from here, if you consider 8 bits will be cleared, these two things will be 0 0. Other things will be retained as it is. Okay, and similarly, bit field insert, if you consider, again, what is the value of R0 here? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So then R1, another register is there, it is having 3355 AACC. Okay, bit field insert, what I am using is R1, that is destination register, it has to be changed. Okay, with respect to R0, the source register. What is the bit number to be inserted, up to how much width? So 8 is there, that is the thing. So in R1, how many, what is the width? 16. So R0 0 to 15, if you consider 16, first 16 bit values, they should be inserted in R1 from the bit position 8. Okay, so it means first 0 to 7 bits, they will remain same, that will be CC only. Okay, so from 8th to 23rd, so 335 will remain same. So from here to here, what we have in what in the place of R0. So in R0, what we have 0 to 16th bit. So that will come and sit here. 6, 7, 8. Correct? So this is how it is executed. So UBFX and SBFX, if you take, okay, unsigned and signed bit field extract. Okay, so the same thing is actually explained in the previous slide. So you can, not previous lecture, you can refer to that, and here also you can just go through that. It is pretty simple. Okay, so LDRD and STRD, they are meant for the, these are the two instructions which will transfer two words of data from or into two registers, that is from the register or into the register. Okay, so the example if you consider over here is the following code. It will read 64-bit value. First thing, it will read 64-bit value located in the memory location 0x100, that is the memory location where it has to read the 64-bit value 0x100. In this location we have a 64-bit value. So this value has to be read. I will call it as data D, and it should into that should be written, that should be read into R0 and R1 also, because R0 is only 32 bits, so it will require R1 also. Okay, and where it should uh, locate that. So how to locate that? So if you consider LDR loading R2 with the memory address here LDRD dot W R0 and R1. Okay, this will give R0 and R1 with the memory location value. So 0x100 to how many bits it can store? 0x100, actually it is 32 bit. So it requires another memory location 0x104. Okay, here you have, actually in the program I have used 1000, so it will be 104. Okay, first 32 bits here, second 32 bit values here, starting from this address. Okay, so this we shall see in the demonstration video anyway. Next we have table byte and branch half word. Okay, table byte and branch half word, if you consider these are the uh, implementing the branch tables. So if you want to have a set of values to be stored, so you can store them. So uh, so how it can be stored? So TBB instruction uses a branch table of byte size. TBB, it will use a table of byte size, that is 8 bits. TBH, it will use 16-bit value. Okay, but since the bit 0 of a program counter is always 0, the value of the branch table will be multiplied by 2 before it's added to the program counter. Okay, so That is why program counter will be multiplied with the value 2. Okay. So this is only for reference, so we can see the things in the demonstration video. Okay. So that's all for the this class. Thank you.